It is already Monday. What happened to this weekend? Oh, telling you. Let's see, I'm a little dark there. There we go. Get a little artificial sunlight going on. Yeah. This weekend just straight outright disappeared on us. And I don't know why. Also don't know why got an issue going on here. That should be it. There we go. Oh, you guys will notice no headphones this morning. I finally went ahead and treated myself. Got myself a little wearable headset. Little wearable speakers. And I was a little worried about them. I thought that they were going to be too loud for, you know, Tamir sits 5 feet to my left. And I thought, man, that ain't going to work. The reason why we all had noise-canceling headphones, we had 5 gamers living in the same house. And, we couldn't hear TeamSpeak over each other. So we needed to get noise-reducing headphones, which was always weird too, because you know TeamSpeak has a slight delay to it, so you're listening to somebody in the room talk on TeamSpeak, you're hearing it twice. But treated myself to that, and let me say, very, very nice not having headphones pressing up against my head on my glasses. So spent a little bit more on them than I probably should have, but that's okay. I spend a lot of time on the computer. Plus, means I can just go right for the walk. I don't have to search around for earbuds if I'm just gonna go for a walk. Just hit the Bluetooth button, switch it over to my phone, just walk around with them on. So, that's why no headphones, if anybody doesn't ask. This weekend, you know what I realized? I realized we're losing hours because of a particular TV show. We're not going to talk about the show, but the reason why I've never been a big fan of watching TV shows when they're live is because you have to schedule your life around them. So that's been a big one too. Plus, the girls were off school this week. Well, they were off school this weekend. And let me say, I was amazingly surprised yesterday. My wife and my daughter's best friend's mom, they went out. And they come back from their little excursion. And we're talking about, the week. And Tamir's like, when are you gonna cut your videos? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. You're gonna have to take the girls out somewhere. I'm gonna need video editing time. And she's like, well, can you just wait till Tuesday? I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Why? She's like, the girls go back to school on Tuesday. I was like, what? Whatever happened to a week off at spring? But I guess this district, I never paid attention. They don't do that. So my kids go back to school on Tuesday. I feel kind of bad. My daughter, my daughter had to give up one day of her spring break. But she didn't actually do everything I told her. She got part of her room clean. My daughter had to switch rooms. I don't like to move my kids around in the houses during the school year because, it takes a teenager a long time to clean a room. Mining keep doing profits. Yeah, mining is a huge profit because I can make the gold keys. Plus, it's an easy way for me to burn off the labor. So, knocking that out. Sad part is I don't really play Archeage full time anymore. I do Archeage 101 still. The live streams are easy because they don't require any prep work. But I'm gonna be completely and fully honest. Archeage videos are on hold for the time being. I have a ton of creator work to do at Ashes, and since I am an official Ashes of Creation content creator, the way it works is, if I have Ash's work to do, Ash's work always goes to the top of the queue. When I have extra time, Archeage videos get done. I'm still streaming Archeage because I can jump on, I can answer your questions, and then in the downtime I can do research. But my videos, I mean, the way I do my videos, they're not the most popular, but they are very, very time intensive. Like, I think I only did... Shit, I think... let me load it up real quick. I think I only got through, like... this weekend I got through 53 slides for 4 videos so far. How long until the Ashes beta? No dates. Don't have any dates for you, but you will see the all those dates appear on my website when that starts to happen. Plus, the good news is I will have some Ashes beta keys to give away. I will have some Ashes beta keys to give away. And big thanks to you guys. I wanted to share this little fact with you guys. I didn't want to take time away from making content to make, like, brag wall content. Last year on April 21st, the content creator program at Ashes started like a week before that, and I applied. I didn't get accepted. Real small creator then. Wasn't really getting a lot of views. I mean, we were right in the height of my my Archeage peak in, you know, March, April, May last year. Absolutely exploded for a while. Huge numbers for views and watch time. It was absolutely amazing. Well, Steven had always liked my content. So, because he watched it, there was a couple of times people had asked him, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just watching Jay's new video." And I didn't have the 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I didn't have the 5,000 followers on Twitch. And Steven, just in the middle of the chat, he says, "Jay, I'm waiving all the requirements, and you're now an official content creator." And I thought, well, that's hella cool. But what do I do with that? You know, I wasn't an Archeage content creator anymore at that point. I had parted ways with Triumph. Like, what am I going to do with that? And so I wrote in my notebook, I was like, double in size by 1 year anniversary. And then we did. We went from 2150 on YouTube to 4,400 or more, like 4,450 in a year. So that was pretty amazing. So big thank you to you guys. That's why I was really happy to come back to Archeage, because a lot of my YouTube followers and most of my Twitch followers are Archeage people. So I like to hang out with, you know, with the people on Archeage. So if anybody has any questions, what I do is I usually do questions. What I'm going to be talking about today is I'm going to be talking about 5 things Gamigo XL Games is doing well. And the first I got to talk about is the gearing. They've absolutely finally figured out that you have to give people a guaranteed method of gearing. You can't run a game where everything is RNG. And because when you do that, if everything was RNG but everything was bound, that would be one thing. Like the Hiram gear. The Hiram gear is bound. Good decision. Absolutely good decision, because if the Hiram gear wasn't bound, then you would just have bots completely grind up Hiram gear and then sell it. But for years and years and years and years and years, the only way to make progress with your gear was to go up the crafted line, the Ioned Aranor and Fed Aranor line. Well, you notice that the prices on some things just astronomical. That's because there's people that are hacking, exploiting, cheating, selling off those weapons, selling them for real world money. I mean, there is a huge market for Archeage characters in Archeage accounts. Never would have believed that. absolutely never would have believed that there was a market for Archeage accounts, and there still is. There is too. Don't you talk back. But you want to say hi to people? What your problem is? You just went up on my desk. You just went up on my desk, you bad kitty. There's one. How many kitties? Can you go find the other kitties? Can you go find them? Find the other. Go find a snowball. I'll throw you a snowball. Go on. Go on. He's been crabby. There you go. He's been crabby because he gets one outside trip a year, and we take him outside once a year so that he can see the outside. But he hasn't gotten it yet because it's been up and down, up and down, up and down, and I like to take him outside and mess with him kind of hard. Okay, go play. Go play. I like to mess with him kind of rough, get all his dander off of him. I've tried lots of different ways to deal with the cats, and I've seen people train their cats from kittens to be blow dried on cool. Grow. But no, these cats weren't trained. So, funny story. I like funny stories. Yeah, I know you're mad. For years, for about the last, God, we going on 5 years now? Last 5 years, I've had major sleep issues. Major sleep issues. Can't sleep, nothing I do. I don't fall asleep. They give me sedatives. They give me pills. They don't help me sleep. I work out. I'm exhausted. I just can't fall asleep. Alright. Get. So, tried everything, man. Chiropractors, acupuncture, new bed. One of those, I have an Uber Duber Select Comfort bed with, you can change the angle. It has automatic responsive air. All that. Absolutely everything. No caffeine at all. Don't work out too close tonight. Not all this stuff. So somebody recommended to me a weighted blanket, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Weighted blanket. I was at my wit's end. I'm on like the last of medications that can help sleep. So I was like, fuck it, I'm desperate. You guys, some of you have seen me at like 4 in the morning on the computer, and you're like, this poor bastard. He's not getting any sleep. Somebody recommended a weighted blanket. I was like, you know what, I'm desperate at this point. I'll try anything. Works like a fucking charm. But the best part is, the cats don't like it. So my cats usually sleep on me. I usually have like one up on my shoulders, one across my hip, one across my legs. And that's never been the problem because I've had the cats for 11 years. They don't like the new blanket, so they don't get on me. They're all mad. They're all fucking with Tamir at night. Makes me smile. Like, I had them the first 11 years. You get them now. But other things, XL and Gamigo are doing well. So the Hiram Gear thing, absolutely. Absolutely, they're doing that well. The cash shop, I have to say, okay, oh, those are back. That's kind of cool. Buy one of these, just because these are actually really, really cool. What is it, a limit of 2 a day? I'll do 2. Yep, two per account. Yes, I am a sexy beast. That is true. So let's look at these real quick. Now these were a good way. These were a good and fair way for them to make money. What I mean by that is Mana Storm crystals, loyalty tokens, Guild of Stars, Curios badges, honorable potions, rank 5. Now, Honorable Vocation Potions, rank 5. Now here's the trick to this. You open these up, okay, and you can take, if say you're looking for Curios Badges and Mana Storm Crystals, then you can take the loyalty tokens, the Guild of Stars, and the Vocation, and you can turn that into currency. Buy your Apex. It's not going to straight buy you an Apex, but it's going to help offset the cost for the Apex, and then you're going to get, what, 8 boxes per Apex? So that's not bad. Let's see. 3 Mana Storm Crystals, 6 Loyalty, 24 Guild of Stars, 15 Curios Badges, and 2 Vocation Potions. And so that's going to be 2,000 Vocation. So if every one of those grants you 2,000 Vocation, you can turn that into something. You can turn that into something. The second one gave me 3, 6, 25, 17. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So that's one of those little things, you know. I understand all sides of the spectrum. All sides of the spectrum, people are going to say, this is pay to win, this isn't pay to win, this sucks, that sucks. People are always going to have a problem with the cash shop. That's why I go with the whole concept of pay to ... I think we can all agree that cosmetics obtained in a cash shop are still going to be a problem for people if you don't have a way to get cosmetics in-game. So everyone's going to complain about something. But what I do like, and wow, they are staying right on top of this cash shop, because this cash shop changed from last Monday's show. What's gone already is the boxes with the multiple costumes in it. Oh no, they're... yeah, they are. Yeah, they're gone. Oh no, here they are. I like the fact that they've decided that instead of trying to make you buy every single individual costume ever created, that they give you boxes with a bunch of them in it. Again, this is one of those we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen the Scarlet mecha covers, the denim mecha covers. I haven't seen those in a while. So if somebody were looking for the denim mecha coveralls, they could buy this box and then they could sell off the other 5 costumes. This is an improvement on the cash shop, instead of the cash shop being based around these. Now, I know nobody wants to hear this. Oh, hi, Cammy. I didn't actually say hello to you, but you said hello to me. I know that people don't like the 450 credit boxes, but let's be honest. Gamigo has to have a way to make money. Obviously, they haven't gotten to a point yet where they feel they can get rid of these boxes. But what I am glad to see they've done is that they haven't added ridiculous Hiram gear pieces to the boxes. Now, there is definitely Hiram gear stuff in the cash shop, which is why when people say, is Archeage still pay to win? It's not. I mean, yes, it's still pay to win if you're going to try to go down the Aranor line, because you can still buy all the bits and pieces that you need. Oh. Uh-oh. The wet cough. But if they put a bunch of Hiram stuff into the RNG crates, that would be a problem. So I think they're doing the right thing by not doing that. So it's another thing that they're doing well. XL Games specifically, because, you know, there's some things that the publisher can do, like the cash shop, but there's certain things that only the developer can do. A big thing that they're doing is, I mean, they're creating content. But unfortunately, I want to give them the big thumbs up for creating a lot of content. The Fall of Hiram City, the Noya Challenge, the Red Dragon instance, that's all content. And we haven't had a patch with that much content in it in years. I don't think we've ever had a patch with that much content in it. But the side effect of that is Archeage has become more theme park than sandbox. Definitely more theme park. and sandbox. Hey, leave the birds alone. Oh, this idiot boy cat. I'm just gonna get on my last nerve this morning. He's frisky. He wants to go out. He wants to chase the birds. So, but, you know, XL, you know, they are trying to improve their product. I mean, if you think about it, the improvements that we've had since April 2018 to now, so just a little over a year, the game has had a massive improvement in the last year. Somebody was asking me the other day if Archeage is worth playing. Yeah, it's worth playing, and it's definitely worth playing if they were to... Hold on a second, I need to shoo a cat. Sorry about that. He's up in a window and he sees birds and rabbits and stuff. He's gonna sit there making that chirping sound. That's not gonna be conducive for anybody. But yeah, the labor system. The labor system is a huge thing. Somebody was talking to me on my YouTube yesterday about Vindicus, and they're like, they got rid of their equivalent of a labor system because people couldn't make money. They couldn't even go on missions because it takes whatever 60 silver to take the ferry. Been a while since I played. The problem is that the only way a game like Archeage works is that if you wanted to have a no labor system, you would have to have some sort... I mean, you'd have to basically kill the player economy. And that's the problem. And that's one of the big things that I am... that's one of the big things that I'm worried about with a couple of games that are saying that they don't have labor systems. And I'm going to use Ashes of Creation for a second, because they're not going to have a labor system. My concern with that is, never underestimate the power of the unemployed person. Never underestimate the power of the person who doesn't have to work. Never underestimate the power of a college student who only has to be at class 15 hours a week. If you have no labor restriction, like imagine this: if I wanted to play Archeage, if I wanted to get, let's say I wanted to completely re-roll my gear, and I was like, well, my big thing that's preventing me from re-rolling my gear is gold. I could just sit here and mine for like 60 hours a week for like 3 weeks, and then have enough gold to re-roll my gear. But the problem is that there'd be nothing but bots in this area. So anything you try to do, okay, then the next thing would be, well, instead of a labor system, you can only hit so many rocks a day. Okay, well, that's a labor system. It's just called something else. So now you're going to make it so I can only hit so many rocks a day, I can only harvest so many trees a day, I can only open so many infusions a day. You're always going to have some sort of artificial limitation on behavior, because it's what brings you back tomorrow. Why do I play today? Oh, because I still have infusions I can open. Oh, but while I'm online, let me go get more infusions. WoW was a big one that I can think of. Actually, WoW and, believe it or not, Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy is what I'm back to for my... I'm not content creating for Final Fantasy. I'm not making any content for it. I'm not streaming it. I'm playing it as a player. I realized the big problem with what I was doing in life was everything was about my content creation. I wasn't having any quote-unquote fun. I mean, although I enjoy making content, I wasn't just playing fun. So I said, Tamir and I decided to go back to Final Fantasy, run through the storyline, because we bought the expansion packs, but we never actually played through the expansion pack content because the combat was too slow. I was like, alright, well, with Ashes getting delayed, I was like, fuck it, let's go back to Final Fantasy. They have an expansion coming this summer. You know, have a good time. Don't have to be like top tier anything in the game. Just have fun with it. And I'm having a ton of fun with it. I missed gaming with my wife. She hasn't played Archeage in years. She liked BDO for a while. I couldn't stay in BDO. But you know, I could log on to Final Fantasy right now, and I could chop trees for 15 straight hours because there's no mechanic to stop me from doing it. Now, part of the problem is some of the best gear. Well, no, somebody told me it changed. The problem was at launch. I'm gonna go all the way back to launch. At launch, the best gear was crafted, or the crafted gear was on par with the dungeon drop gear. Now, from what people tell me, and I haven't dug into it, I'm discovering it as I go. The best gear comes from the dungeons, the instances, the raids. Well, that's a natural side effect. It's the same thing in WoW. You can mine in WoW, or you could. I haven't played WoW in years either. You could mine in WoW all day. You could craft in WoW all day. But you know, the best gear in WoW wasn't crafted gear. It was raid gear. You made crafted gear to do dungeons. Labor system prevents me from having fun. Like yesterday, I was doing some sunken ships, recover each my guild, 250 to open one crate. There was like 7-8 crates. So after 3 crates, almost everybody ran out of labor. That was only 2,000 labor. So you get 2,880 a day. But yeah, I see your point. I do see your point. Well, 2,000 labor is the majority of what you earn in a day. But now, the point is, loop that back around. What if there wasn't labor? Yeah, 2,000 labor is the patron cap, yes. But imagine if they let you raise sunken ships, all of them. Like, you could raise sunken ships for however many there are per 6-hour cycle. Imagine that you were allowed to raise as many as you wanted. Well, then you have inflation. Because remember, sunken ships introduce gold into the economy from nothingness. Absolutely nothingness. Coin purses introduce gold into the world from absolute nothingness. You gotta keep all those things. You gotta keep all those things in consideration. Now, back to the things XL has done well. I do want to say that I know people are mad. I know people are mad about the Hiram gold infusion costs, right? I know people are mad about it, but it's what Archeage needed, and it needed it sooner. It needed a more stable, reliable gold sink. And what I mean by that is, once I had my gear, there was a point where my gear was just about as good as my gear was going to get, until I got more stuff. And, you know, it required drops, not labor. Like, I had no interest. My gear, I have an epic cloth set. Now, if I was still playing Archeage full time, I would have been running the library every day, getting the library cloth set, taking the library cloth set up to Eternal, awakening it when it comes out, and that would have been a lot of gold. Would have had to do a lot of things, earn a lot of gold, do a lot of things to do that. And that's good. Getting gold out of the economy is a good thing. But the problem is, and this is I understand people's problem with this right here. I understand your plight. To come up with, what's that going to be? 3,700 gold a month to pay for your patron? I understand that that is a lot of gold for people to come up with. And people are like, well, Excel and Gamigo need to solve that. Okay, how would you like them to solve it? What is the solution to the Apex problem? The issue is that for an Apex to enter the economy, somebody has to pay real world money to do that. It is a lot of people are like, well, I'm a free to play player. There is no such thing as a free to play player. There is I didn't spend real money, but you still contributed at the very bottom. At the very, very bottom of the pay to win pyramid, you contributed to the very bottom of the pay to win pyramid. You never spent any money, you didn't pay, you didn't win. Somebody paid on your behalf. I know a lot of people have said, well, why don't they just let everybody be a patron? Okay, well then where does Gamigo make the money? Where does Gamigo make their money if everybody's a free patron? I mean, then something. If everybody's a free patron, then something else has to go into the cash shop. Something else mandatory has to go into the cash shop. And then if anything else mandatory goes into the cash shop, there's no way to make players happy. For example, I toyed around one day with the idea that everybody, the patron non-patron system goes away, right? How could we make that happen? Well, then I said, put Cynthium soap in the cash shop. Put Cynthium soap in the cash shop for 1,000 credits each, and it's bound. So you can't buy it and sell it. And then I thought, well, so then people are gonna they're still gonna need 2 Apex a month. Except occasionally they'll get a free month because they'll stockpile up the 250. They'll need it to wash their costumes and their undergarments if they want to be competitive. But then I thought, no, now I just made the system even more pay to win, because now you have to buy something. Like, you don't need patron. I know people that have gotten to points over the years. I don't know if any of them are doing it now, because like I said, I'm not all up in this game keeping notes and research and tracking stuff every day. But I know people that for long periods of time, they played as a free-to-play player. Free-to-play. No patron at all, because they didn't need it, because they didn't need the labor. They had more than enough. They had their gear. They used their 1440 labor a day to make their sustainment money. What they did is they stole packs. They stockpiled stolen packs on their islands. They had hundreds of packs, and then once they had all of their island property full of stolen packs, then they pop patron for a month, get the labor regen, turn in all those packs, and then meanwhile still pirate. But they spent a month stockpiling gold, and then they went back to not having, like, one account in order to hold the land, but that was it. Not like one person in the family had patron. They were all sharing the land. You know, that makes perfect damn sense. Then again, you had other people like me, like other land barons that had 50, 60 properties, just chose to do it that way. What's up, JJ? Let's see, shoot who. As a free-to-play with 3 patron accounts, it definitely takes work to buy 6 Apex a month to keep everything going. 5 regen even offline and 1 instant apartment for 1 chest and 1 otherworldly. That's my idea for non-patrons. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I disagree with you in specifics, but I agree with you in practicality. Here was always my suggestion. Bring the non-patron cap down to 1,000, and then give them 5 labor regen while offline. Because 5 labor regen while offline, or if you want to be completely fair, make their cap 1440, and then give them 5 labor regen offline. It just gets all the alts the hell off the server. I said that at launch. Every time they launched, I said what you need to do is free-to-play accounts. You actually need to flip-flop that. Free-to-play accounts should get their labor while offline and earn none while online. Yeah, you can cut down on your concurrent users, exactly, because they don't need to be online. In fact, like I said, the best way to do it, make it 50 labor every 5 minutes. Again, you missed the whole point of, if you did that, then you have to do other things in the economy. I'm fine if you want to say make it 50 labor every 5 minutes, but what, in exchange for that, what are you going to give up? What do you sacrifice in order to get that? Because if you gave me 50 labor every 5 minutes instead of 10 every 5 minutes, I'm just going to stay in this, I'm going to be in this mine more often. I'm just going to mine the shit out of it, which means I'm going to have more materials, which means the prices are going to fall, which means the prices of stone, iron, gold, silver, all that's going to fall, but the price of Apex not going to come down. Doesn't it look better for a developer to have more concurrent users? I understand from player point. It does, except they don't release numbers anyway. And in Archeage right now, we have the alt age problem. So if you're reporting numbers, but you'll notice nobody reports. Notice that in the last, let's call it 7 years, which companies report online players and which companies report, or not even which companies report and or allow the number of online players to be reported, in which player or which companies tell you how many subscriptions they have, and then which companies always talk about how many total players they've ever had. Like Guild Wars 2, I saw something the other day, now at 11 million players. Bullshit. Guild Wars 2 doesn't have no 11 million fucking players. Guild Wars doesn't have 11 million fucking goddamn concurrent players. They do not. They do not. Okay? They may have 11 million total sales, 11 million accounts made, 11 million, but they don't have 11 million total anything. I don't know if they make it public, if they share the numbers with investors. Well, let me tell you a little secret about that. Let me tell you a little something about that. Blizzard got spanked by their shareholders in 2016 because they lied. They lied like dogs. And it wasn't a bad lie. And they got in trouble with the SEC a little bit, because you can lie to your players. You can get onto a live stream, you can bullshit out your ass to your players. That's not a crime. It is a crime to lie to your shareholders. If you're a publicly traded company, you may not lie in your SEC filings. You may not. Well, Blizzard lied and they got spanked. And that's why now, I haven't seen, because I dumped all my Activision stock the day of BlizzCon, and I made a fortune, because I knew Diablo Immortal was not going to be well received. But at one point they said, well, we have this many millions of people. And I was like, that doesn't seem right, but I'm not really concerned, because my investment is still economically sound. But somebody went along and they said, all right, hold up a second here. You claimed in this quarter, and this is going all the way back to This would be going all the way back to 2015 because it was in the 2016 report. They said, you're claiming this many people, but in this news article you said this many people, and in this news article you said this many Heroes of the Storm players. In this news article you said this many Overwatch players. In this article you said this many Hearthstone players. These numbers don't add up. These numbers aren't showing an accurate picture. And what Blizzard came back with was, well, you'll notice our news articles aren't aligned with the financial quarters, which is smart, okay, because it stops you from ever being like painted into a corner. So if you report financially by quarter, but your news article says between February 10th and February, March, April, May, June. So between February 10th and May 25th, we had this many players. Well, then they get to say, well, you can't compare apples to apples because you're trying to take something out of our financial filing and you're trying to apply it to a media article. And the SEC was like, yeah, well, you can't bullshit your numbers this big. That's why a lot of companies don't release player figures anymore, because all these companies are publicly traded. And so now, you know, whatever you say in your financial statement has to be true. Let me actually grab that real quick. 2016 Activision Shareholder Report. I no longer keep a local copy because I don't need it. 2016 Annual Report. Yep. Let me grab you. So, you guys have never seen one of these. And this isn't their SEC filing. This is their shareholder. This is their shareholder report. Let me see. Play capture. You gonna work? Not gonna work. You're gonna work though. So this is what Blizzard puts out to its shareholders. Talks about all these things, and if you didn't know, all these things are, you know, all these different bits and pieces are all inside the, you know, the family. These are all inside the family. But, you know, you got to go through all this crap. You got to go through all this crap to find to our shareholders. And so you start, you know, you start getting into these things. And which one is this? Hold on one second. Archeage not dead? No, Archeage isn't dead. Archeage is living. I'm looking for the... Okay, so this is the part that I was talking. Let me zoom in because you guys are like looking at small stuff. This monthly active users, measuring the size and engagement of our user base. We use monthly average users as a key measure of the overall size of our user base. So here's Blizzard's, right? And this is in millions. So going all the way back to September 30th, 2015, they said that they had 28 million monthly average users. And this, you know, somebody went back and they said, well, wait a minute. You claim that you have, and this is where the millions came in. You said, well, in this period, you said you had 11 million Hearthstone players and 9 million Overwatch players and da-da-da. And then, so then somebody came down doing the math and they said, so what you're saying is you have no World of Warcraft players. And they're like, no, we have World of Warcraft players. They're like, okay, but where are they? Because you claimed the public numbers that you gave for your other games eats up all those other numbers. So you're in the negatives already. So how are these numbers working? Monthly, yes, but that's not, when you get into the math, that's not how they described it. That's how they do it and you have it. You're saying we have, oh, and hello, yes. You're saying that we have, 11 million Overwatch players. You're saying we have 11 million Hearthstone players. Now, you are right that they can overlap, but how you phrase it and how you show it, you need to make sure that you throw that caveat in there that says, an individual may count in more than one category. But it still doesn't matter because they're still an Overwatch player. They're still a Hearthstone player. So when you take away 11 million, 11 million, 11 million, and you suddenly are at negative 33 million, how are you still got people? So that's where they got in trouble. And the other thing they got, player versus account is two totally, absolutely. And those are all the things that, remember, I said you can bullshit and lie to your community. You shouldn't bullshit and lie to your community, but you can. But when you start bullshitting in your shareholder reports and SEC filings, that's when they, get spanked. Why am I looking at 2015 and 2019? Because the example I had when they got caught doing the shenanigans was 2015. Because, I don't follow every single fuck up that every single company makes. Although I did, even though I sold my Activision stock this year, I did see their filing this year, and Activision definitely hedged their we might be fucked bets with the filing this year, that they may not be able to recover in this fiscal year, because Activision got some problems. Hey Darth. But yeah, so going back to where they to where numbers are, remember, it's not nope. You can't call it Classic WoW. You can't call it Classic WoW anymore. They've done too many things. They made too many changes. Can't call it Classic WoW. You can call it Flashbacks if you want. You can call it Origins. You can call it Roots. But the last time I checked, there was not sharding in Classic WoW. So because you're putting sharding in, I think, my personal opinion, I believe putting in the sharding changes that organically enough that I believe that changes it organically enough that it's not Classic WoW. Have they removed it again? They may have. One side effect of the Monday morning show is that I don't necessarily get to do, like, I see something on Friday, and then on the weekends I'm busy building storyboards and hanging out with my kids. I don't necessarily see everything. Let's take a quick look. Let's see. Uh, 2018. But Archeage for the win. You know what? Here's the thing. If somebody has... I did over the summer, when I wasn't playing Archeage from April until October, I did the world tour. I did the world tour of MMOs. The only one that I enjoyed, I'm gonna be completely honest, I enjoyed Star Trek Online, but I felt grimy. And what I mean by that is, I was streaming Archeage, or I was streaming Star Trek Online, and I was getting huge numbers, like the best numbers I'd ever gotten in any game. But I couldn't learn enough about that game to be a content creator, and so I felt bad. Like, I'm sitting here in chat and I'm having to be like walked through everything, and a couple of weeks went by and I just wasn't getting it. Not, I mean, I was getting it, but not as a player, but not enough to be a content creator. Because every single time then somebody would ask me a question, I'm sitting there like going back through my notes and trying to figure it out. And that's not how, I don't want to be that streamer. I don't want to be that guy. If you come to my channel, I want to be able to help you, or I want to, at the very least, be able to, on the one-offs, direct you to another person who's going to be able to help you. Like I said, in the next game I play, which most likely will be Ashes, I don't think I'm gonna go to anything new because Ashes has me busy, like really busy. And then any free time I have after that, I like to devote to Archeage. But in the next game, I'm not trying to be a tank, healer, mage, archer, expert. Whatever class I play in Ashes, and then whatever class Tamir plays in Ashes, I will talk about those two classes. Now, if I do research, if I talk to my guild, and we come up with something, I will definitely share stuff. Like, I know Sweet Tart's going to play a bard. So if we come up with something together to help our guild's bards, then, because I don't ever do a video just for me. Now, I will say if it's a piece of content that we figure out how to clear before the rest of the world figures out how to clear it, probably am not going to do step-by-step instructions until it's common knowledge, like several guilds then are clearing it. Because Ashes is going to be the kind of game where you want to keep those advantages. If I figure out something that makes my node, better than everybody else's, I'm going to hold that until it becomes common knowledge. Then once it becomes common enough knowledge, then I'll share it, because then we level the playing field. But I'm not going to try to make guides for every single class in the next game. It's too time intensive. Not that I don't love all the classes, but really got to dial down and be good at what you do. It's like with Cybot back in Archeage. Cybot can talk archers way better than I can. So if somebody has an Archeage question, I say, well, check out this guy Cybot, his stream, and go in there and ask him a bunch of archer questions. Oh, Kriya with the spicy lurk. What is that, like a 4-hour-old burrito or something? Oh, speaking of spicy, man, place in town, they don't make very good Chinese food, but it's, you guys know I live in this small farm town that has high-speed internet. I live here because I wanted my kids to go to this school district. I really want my daughter to, let me move to Nevada, because I want to be out. Peace out, I gotta go. But, they make, because I'm on the diet now, and it sucks. I'm 10 days without a French fry. Sweet Tart, 10 days without a fried chicken. But they make some outstanding chicken lo mein. I was shocked. I was like, well, this is the one thing this Chinese place does well. What do I play? I play Doombringer. I play healer mainly. I have a couple of different healer things that I can do. I prefer Doombringer, but again, I'm not really. I probably would be playing something bard related, if I was actually playing all the time. What is Doombringer? Doombringer is an AoE build healer. So it's basically the most AoE healing that you can put out. I haven't found a class that can put more AoE healing out. So, but yeah, it's funny. I was a healer for years, and I came to Archeage and I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not being a healer anymore. I want to play a DPS. So I was playing Archer, and then I got asked by my guild to Bard, because I was playing Ebon's Song before playing Ebon's Song was cool. And then I got asked if I would take more barding skills and Bard full-time on things like Anthelon and Endearing PvP. And then it became, well, would you consider having a healer build if we helped you out with some gear? And I was like, sure, I'd consider that. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, I'm a healer. How the fuck did that happen? But it's okay. What does each prestige level do for you? Are you talking about ancestral levels? I think that's what you're referring to as prestige level. But this is the ancestral bonus effect. And then unfortunately mine are all open, but these unlock at certain levels. But you get 340 toughness and 680 resilience, but this is the big one right here. That flat 3.4% received damage reduction at ancestral level 34. Big numbers. Big numbers for free, just for leveling. And then that's all gonna go to 55 in, I think 2 patches is when we'll get 55. See a bunch of Eben songs on the arena rankings in EU. Yeah, because they made a stupid decision with Zeal. They never should have done this. They never should have moved Zeal to the 4-point passive, but they did, and it made Eben's song viable. And then giving archers an ability that doubles their move speed for 2 seconds. Is just a bad decision. You take more damage as you level up. No, the number goes down. They do this all the time. It happens all the time when they do localization patches. I think one of them, does the chess piece still have it as well? Yeah, the chess piece still has it as well. You'll see it receive damage plus 3%. It's actually minus 3%. They've just screwed up the minus instead of a plus. Now I will say the funny part to that was when the food came out with 4.5, it was screwed up. The food actually caused you to take more damage. And people were like, what the fuck is this? And they had to fix that pretty much on the fly. But no, that was funny. That was funny. You're thinking about doing a Shadowblade build. Shadowblade still works. Let me get the calculator open. I think, well, let me rephrase that. I don't think I've looked at Shadowblade since the 18-point thing. No, Shadowblade will still work. Because, remember, a lot of builds that you see out there, they're built on the 28-point concept, where you get to pick both your passives and your actives. Now we're on the 18-point concept, where your passives are free. So, your passives are actually passives like every other game in the world. You put 2 points into a tree, you get a passive. You put 3 points in, you get a passive. Before, you didn't have to buy these. I never... Oh yeah, and I forgot about this the other day. Somebody was talking about killing healers and keeping them silenced. And I was like, I know there's a reason why I'm like never goddamn silenced. It's because my shield pops Prophet's Voice. Because my shield stacks off my crit heal rate. So silences for me are reduced by 60% almost all the time. I was like, yeah, I'm almost never silenced. And that's why. But yeah, Shadowblade will still work. Most people are gonna go 7 points in a battle rage, 5 points minimum into Shadowplay, because they're gonna want stealth. And that's going to give you 6 points-ish to play with Witchcraft. Which I don't even think you need 6 points in Witchcraft. And the fact that they gave skill combos. Witchcraft. Giving Mirror Warp to see, this is my next episode is going to be 5 things that Tryon or Excel and Gamigo fucked up on, and one of the things they fucked up on was this never should have happened. This absolutely never should have happened. You should not have moved a mobility spell into Witchcraft. The reason why is Witchcraft was designed to be CC and self-sustain. What they did is they screwed up this self-sustain combo, right? They took this away, the potency of this away, and then they added this, so you're like, you totally twisted around Witchcraft. And the reason why I say that I disagree with that decision is, what mobility did defense have? You didn't give defense any mobility. Oromancy has teleport. Witchcraft has behind enemy lines. Has mirror warp. Occultism has shadow step. Shadow play has backdrop. Vitalism has double time. What mobility did you give to defense? Now, a lot of people, well, what does it matter? Because balance, okay, balance comes in the form of, what do you want your skill trees to do, right? You want your skill trees to add synergy, mobility, utility. Your damage trees are your damage trees. I know you battle rage users are gonna get upset with me, all right? And I accept that. All right, where's sorcery? All right. What mobility do these two trees have? And these two trees don't have mobility. These two trees, archery and sorcery, not only do they not have mobility, but steady shooting and mage circle give them extra damage at the expense of mobility. And then you get battle rage that has not one but 2 mobility skills. If you've ever wondered why melee are so broken, it's because you didn't follow a balanced build scenario. Now, do I think that every class needs to be exactly cookie cutter? No, I don't. I don't. But you can't swing the pendulum 2 directions at once. It's okay if you want to give battle rage mobility. That's fine. You can give battle rage mobility. Later, sweetheart. Have fun being a logistics expert. You can give battle rage mobility. Now, I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is you gave battle rage mobility, but then you gave the other 2 trees additional damage at the cost of mobility. That is a double basically fuck you to archery and sorcery. Now, to bring up vitalism and malediction, because these are the other 2 trees, if you will. Again, these don't have either. These don't have mobility, nor do they have at the expense of mobility. So these are fine. These 2 trees, for just that concept, are balanced. But that is a huge reason why classes are unbalanced in just their playstyle. Because you can take Battle Rage, Oromancy, and Shadow Play, make yourself a Dark Runner, and have 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 5. Half, so 6. 6. Oh, that's right. Malediction does have a warp. Thank you. Thank you. I forgot which one it's on, but they do. It does have one. Yeah, Void Surge. But Dark Runner can have, I'm gonna call it 6, but you could conceivably call it 7 mobilities. All right. I'm gonna call it 6, but you could conceivably call it 7, either mobility or mobility boosts. Other classes don't. Other classes don't get that advantage, and so people would be like, "Well, that's called making your class. You pick choices, right?" But I don't think it's possible to get 7. I don't think it's possible to get 7 mobilities unless you take Battle Rage. I don't think you can get 7. Oh, charge. Yeah, true. Charge, so you're 8. I mean, I get it. Melee classes have to be able to close the distance, because if they could be kited forever, they'd be able to do no damage. But because melee classes have to be able to close the distance, or they'd be able to do no damage, then why do you make archery and mage stand still? You've already given them all the tools they need. You've given them all the tools they need to catch archers and mages that are kiting. So again, why'd you swing the pendulum twice? You swung it one way for Battle Rage, you swung it the other way for the other two. That fundamentally is why archery and sorcery struggle. Now, I know some people are going to be like, mages are overpowered. Yes. Because they compensate for a fundamental flaw at the beginning. And then this whole mage and plate thing. It makes no damn sense to me. I am not against mages being in plate. I am against mages in plate. I'm against mages in plate being able to, be ridiculous, because plate works against 2 damage types. That's one thing that I don't think they ever sat down and really worked that one out. They didn't really balance that one out too well. Let's be honest, the benefits to wearing leather aren't so great. I mean, you lose 3 meters on your range skills. I mean, imagine if it wasn't 3. Imagine if it was 7. Imagine if you had a 7-meter range bonus on bow skills in leather. That would drive more archers to be in leather. One thing I did like about future games that are coming out is some games that I've seen coming out, they've outright said, you can wear any armor, but your class has a preferred armor. You won't find your stats on the other armor. So you can choose to play defensively, but it's going to impact your offense. I mean, what if there was no... And I know this is going to be a little bit radical. What if there was no strength? What if there was no strength on... plate? What if plate was tank gear and it only had stamina on it? What if you couldn't get intelligence on plate? What if you couldn't get spirit on plate? What if you could only get stamina on plate? What if you could only get spirit and intelligence on cloth? What if you could only get strength and agility on leather? That change right there would start to make some radical changes in the game. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, that sucks because the Ionad Flame set. And you're right. But we could very easily go in and duplicate the Ionad Flame set and make it the Ionad Dexterity set and fix the flaws. We've done the gear discussion several times and said, hey, this decision to give one set of armor a ridiculous bonus at the expense of the others, that wasn't a good decision. They could fix that. Where the hell did the donkey go? Oh, he was behind me. They could fix that. I hope future games turn around and make it so that like Ashes of Creation is doing. The goal is you can put any stats on any armor if you work for it. If you work for your swag, if you build up the right standing in the right social organizations, you can put whatever stats you want on whatever gear. I think that's the right way to do it. Don't make it easy. Don't make it the standard. Don't make it the default. But absolutely, absolutely make it so that you want to put intelligence on plate. Oh shit! Oops, if I do that. If you want to put intelligence on plate, go ahead. Put intelligence on plate. But you have to go ahead and become a badass monkey with the Mages Guild, because that's the only way you can get that dial. That's the only way you can get that dial for crafting. And I'm gonna have to go fuel that up real quick, otherwise we're gonna have disastrous results. But I think that's a great way to do it. You want to have complete freedom in what gear does what. You want to have complete freedom in what gear does what? Then real simple, make it so that you don't have. Oh, somebody got him. Good. Make it so that you have to work for it. But don't let people, like, I'm sorry, but I think that you guys know my opinion. When the 30% healer nerf comes out, I'm probably done with Archeage. Again, because I believe that you vote with your wallet. I can't believe that they're doing something so stupid as healing or nerfing self-heals. I'm going to be honest, I would not care in the slightest if they nerfed healing 30% across the board. Then I'd accept the fact, I'd say, alright, my class was broken and it needed to be fixed. I don't think it needs to be 30%. I don't think that it needs to be 30%, but I definitely think that it needs to be nerfed. And I'm a healer, and I'm saying you gotta nerf my shit. But at the same time, oh, that one's 21 minutes. We don't need 21 minutes on it, guys. With that said, you want to start with a 10% nerf to healing across the board. I'm okay with that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it needs to happen. But to tell me that you're gonna keep my ability to heal everybody else, but you're going to take away my ability to heal myself. So basically, I'm fucked if I get jumped in the open world one-on-one. No, sorry. I don't get down with that. I don't accept it. I think it's a horrible. I think it is an absolutely horrible, decision. I think it is a horrible decision. I think it is ridiculous. It will be the reason I stop playing the game. And the worst part is that I love I love Archeage, and the worst, and even worse is, here's where the hypocrisy comes in. I will come back to Archeage if they do a fresh start server. I just won't be a healer. But I'm not gonna. I am not gonna dick around with the amount of healing-based gear I have and re-roll. Now, if they want to be like, okay, healers, because we're doing a 30% self-healing nerf, we're gonna give you all, you know, we're gonna give you all a fuck ton of serendipity stones so you can re-roll all your gear. Oh, well, in that case, cool. In that case, I'm all good with it. I'll re-roll all my shit. But, and I know some people are like, well, it needs to happen. Well, then why aren't you supporting the 30% across the board? And that's where my problem with it is. If you want to say across the board, we're nerfing healing, again, I'm cool with it. Get more players behind that. Yeah, man, we need to nerf healing across the board. Okay. Oh, I love it. See, right there, things they're not getting right, that guy should just get kicked from the instance. He's got the away tag. He should just get, they should be like, nope, goodbye. You can't stay not AFK. No soup for you. Gonna get a kick in the next patch. What's up? Is there something else coming in the next patch that I don't know about? It's like I said, I unfortunately do not have time to be 100% on top of Archeage at the moment, because Ashes has me pretty tied up at the moment. Ashes, I mean, I could probably not stream all week, and I could probably do 10-12 videos this week on Ashes and still not cover all the new material, because there's some major stuff. Bless Online. Oh, Bless Online is such a fucking disaster story. The game was good for the first 48 hours. If you could get past the loading screen issue. But, they, you know, had some issues. But they, I can't believe they did the 66% nerf on damage output 48 hours after release. It was like a big giant fuck you. It was like, we know this is gonna piss off the community, so we're gonna wait until you're sold. Ashes of Creation. When does Ashes come out? Okay. When does Ashes come out? We don't know. What is Ashes of Creation? Oh my goodness, where have you been? I have a link down below to my Ashes 101 site. You can get all smarted up on Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation is an open world theme box. Not an open world sandbox. It's an open world theme box. Coming out soon. Trademark. It's going to try to incorporate all the best parts of open world PvP with meaningful PvP with like old school lineage. Now, we've heard a lot. We've seen very little. We have seen the BR mode. We have seen Alpha Zero. I played in Alpha Zero, so I can say that there is an MMO. A lot of people start this rumor that there's no MMO. I'm like, there is. I've played it. They had some problems. Little too ambitious. But they are righting the ship now. Steven just did 4 interviews in 8 days. So lots of information shared with the community. Why he make it team box? You mean theme box? Themebox is, I mean, a lot of games that call themselves sandbox games are not actually sandbox games. A true sandbox has no limitations. It is very difficult. Like, there is no such thing as a pure sandbox game. When you get all the way down to it, there's no such thing as a pure sandbox game, because every game is always going to have rules. Because we're probably 100 years from, you know, a pure sandbox game, because the level of computing to let a player do anything is, you know, beyond, I mean, it's beyond human comprehension. It's beyond the scope of a human being to even think about how to program a world where you could do anything. No rules, no limitations, no restrictions. I mean, just think about how do you even write the rules for that? It's can't even be fathomed. So but not until 5G. Yes, 5G will fix all those problems. Coming back from years away, I'm a level 54 Kabbalist, no idea what to do. First of all, get to Ancestral level 1, and that's just leveling, spend labor. Oh, if you're just coming back, make sure you go to the webpage and make sure you don't have packs to claim. If you're just coming back as level 54, you're going to want to work on Hiram gear. I do have a video up on the website for gearing on Hiram gear. Am I stuck on the other one? So, yeah, you're gonna want to get down on working on your Hiram gear, doing the dailies, getting your quests out of the cash shop. They're free. You get extra bits and pieces, so you're gonna want to do all of that. That is the big stuff. But yeah, mainly, right? Oh, library. Once you get a group that can clear the library dungeon, the library bosses, then you want to try to, like, if you can make friends that can clear at least the first 3 library bosses in the library dungeon. Once you can go in, that's like 1.5 million XP a day. You have 48 hours in jail at the moment. Yeah, that, you know, today's show is 5 things that XL Gamigo did well. Talk about one of the things that XL Gamigo, but actually Tryon, fucked up, because, you know, Tryon was the one that would have had to lay the groundwork for this change. The way they did it in Korea was everybody got returned to the mainland as they got all their infamy removed, and they got kicked back they got all their infamy removed and kicked back to the mainland. The way it happened when we got it is not everybody got kicked back, to my knowledge. So some people didn't get the free infamy crime points removal, so they're sitting on, you know, all of the shit that they had. Weren't you interviewing Steven today? No, dude, I interviewed Steven last week. That interview is done. That interview is up on the YouTube. My best video ever, man. Hit 1,000 views within a couple of hours. Oh, well, let me tell you, last week, man. Last week was a comedy of fucking errors. Oh, is it? Shit, thanks. Let me fix that. That slipped my mind. Thank you. I will fix that right after this. Yeah, that would be the first time chat users thing, or the chat rules thing. I gotta get that fixed. But They not giving everybody the free return to mainland and clearing the infamy, you know, that kind of sucked. That sucked for people. Real talk. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who got screwed by that. You are hamburger. Come here. Oh, under my cart? Cool, thanks. Perfect placement. But I see a couple of questions I gotta scroll up through. I am trying to make sure that we get the max reward. Working diligently. I find that I used to be the guy that did south. I used to go south and do south. Now I just find it easier if I stay close. I can get a lot more packs turned in if I stay close. Yeah, that was the big problem with that was the big problem. You were pirate, and then you came back and you're not pirate anymore. But because of the change in the rules to the Outlaw Nation, you were yeah. No, XL Games canceled Civ Online. The project got canceled. And then that's why Archeage has had so much content developed lately, because Sid Meier and Praxis and all them, they decided to go separate ways. But that's why XL was so not developing Archeage for so long, because they had contractual obligations to meet and they couldn't meet them. They had to hit the deadlines. Now, Wizards, it's completely possible that they've decided to re-pursue the project, but my knowledge, to my knowledge, that project was shit-canned. Oh, you got kicked from the Hiram raid? Yeah, what must have happened is you didn't have the minimum number, and it said, holy shit, this fucking party. It said, nope, you gotta go. This is gonna be close. I don't know if we're gonna make this. He's got 8. $43 with not a lot of resources. Hopefully. The minute, is there anything? Yeah, there is. $52. 55. 10. So that'll be 65. Damn it. $60 with 7, that'll be 67. I'll be 69. 70, 71. Oh shit, we're gonna be short. Yep, and that sucks. When you have all these alts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw it when I came in. We had them all. They were all there. They were all standing there, but because we had at least 5 people AFK, you realize we missed by what, 30? No, not even 30. 20, less than 20. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that they could do. They could make it so that... Why do they not look for what is low? No, it's the problem is we just didn't have enough people. We had 5 AFKs. Well, 5 AFKs turn in 2 packs each. That's 10. I mean, that right there. 10 more packs of anything would have made a difference. Great population. Yeah. Again, those things that XL did wrong. We're talking about the things that XL did great. I think the Fall of Hiram City is a great dungeon. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's a way to spend time. The problem with it is you allow alts in there, and alts ruin it, because 5 people make a huge difference in the dungeon. Like I said, 5 people get 2 packs each. 5 people get 2 packs each. That's a difference of 10. So, that's a huge difference. Wonder if you got the mains and I got the alts. Yeah, man, it's the curse of my existence. That's what always the fuck happens. That's what always happens. Alright, let me go in here. Twitch.tv. Let's see. There we go. That's fixed. Thank you for that. What the hell is that address? I find it funny that it would be the Glyph account management page. Fuck, I don't even know. I don't even know what this address is. There we go. No, I get this. Should be this. Yeah, it should be that. Unfortunately, I have all this other crap on my address. It's like, what is going on? Oh, I got a funny fucking story for you guys too about Friday night. You guys will laugh at this. Oh, apparently I got the PTS pack because I did actually go on the PTS. So that's cool. Got my PTS compensation. Yeah, always try to check in like periodically. Oh, I would have seen that when I did my my Patreon. Yeah, always try to check periodically because you get shit. Actually, no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have seen that, dirty bastards. because it expires on April 30th and my patron doesn't run out. Sweet candy pack. 200 labor. Ooh, nice. Me likey. But so Friday night, you guys know that a couple of months ago I was having computer problems, and so with Archeage. Let me roll that back. I wasn't having computer problems. I was having Archeage problems. Every single time I try to load Archeage, I get a moment, and not a moment. I get about 15 seconds to 20 seconds of my whole system locks up. The problem with that is, it not only affects my stream, but if I crash and I'm compiling a video, if I crash playing Archeage while I'm compiling a video, then that's it. I cannot reload Archeage until the video is done, because Archeage just steals control of everything. Well, I was like, maybe it's a problem with all of the Archeage crap I have on my computer. Like, I haven't done a hard reinstall of Windows since I got the computer. And I was like, let me check that. And so I reinstalled Windows, and it wasn't the smartest decision because I forgot to back up a lot of stuff. I didn't lose any files, but I lost like OBS settings and program settings and shit like that. But then when I was trying to figure out if the lag that we have in Archeage was based on any less than whitelist processes running on your computer, like I load Archeage and I'm watching all the processes and I'm keeping track of everything that loads when I load Windows, and then I'm watching every single process that loads when I load Glyph, and then I'm watching every single process that loads when I load Archeage. I wanted to make sure that they weren't, doing anything, sneaky. Like my.com, I have no problem saying this. Fuck my.com, because there are processes. Like, why is my computer making a connection to some random IP address? That's not your server. Get the fuck out of here. Uninstall all your shit. You gotta go. My.com games, you're off limits. That shit's not gonna happen. But nothing. Archeage, to my knowledge, and to a couple other people that check Archeage, they said absolutely no illicit processes are running. And I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a good sign. But I go into my task manager to see the spike on my CPU. I'm trying to figure out what the spike is. And I look at my CPU, and I only have 3 cores. And I'm like, what's up with that? Because I have an i7, and an i7 is a quad-core processor. And I'm like, what in the blue fuck? So I'm, doing all the things that you should do. Update BIOS, update the chipset driver, all these things. Still only have 3 cores. It was Friday night, and I was not having the greatest day, and I didn't want to keep Tamir up, so I got back up at night. We went to bed. I got back up, and I said, fuck it. You know what I'm going to do? It's Friday night. I paid for the HP care pack. I'm going to online talk to the HP people. And so I, went in a chat with HP, and I was like, hey guys. They're like, what's going on, sir? And I was like, I have a problem. And, they pull up my account, and they're like, oh, Mr. Jalan, you have the executive support suite, in-home, care pack, zippity-doo-dah-yay, care package. Yes, I do. They're like, let us start working on your computer. I said, sure. They said, well, first, before we get started, can you tell us what the problem is? I said, yeah, I have an i7 with 3 cores. And the guy's like, that's not possible. And I said, I know. And he's like, may I have your permission to remote into your computer? Because I have the care pack. I don't have to do fuck all with my computer. HP, if I fuck up my computer, HP remotes in, they fix it. I mean, I literally could have had them reinstall Windows for me if I wanted to. But that's a pain in the ass, because then it's just a pain in the ass. So he looks, he loads Task Manager, and he's like, well, this isn't possible. I said, I know. Work with me here. And so he starts doing stuff, and does the hardware diagnostic, and the chip comes back as not damaged, and Windows is only seeing 3 cores, only seeing the 6 logical processors. And he's like, may I update your BIOS? Because they're really cool about it, but that's not the amount I need. They're really cool about it. They ask you every single thing, like, may I do this? Yes, go ahead. Cool. We get through all of it. And remember I told you guys a while ago, like, when it comes to troubleshooting a computer, sometimes the simplest solution works and nobody knows why. Why, when you ask for tech support, do they tell you to reboot the computer? Because, like, 80% of the time, rebooting the computer fixes the problem. As stupid as it sounds, and I know nobody ever wants to believe that, 80% of the time, that fixes the damn problem. So he tries everything, man. We're like, we're hanging out. It's Friday night at like 1 in the morning. The guy's funny as fuck. We're talking. And he's like, well, sir, I am gonna go ahead and schedule the technician to come out to your house. Unfortunately, it'll probably be Tuesday. And I was like, dude, Tuesday is not 3 days from now. And he says, I understand that you were gonna say that, but it's actually Saturday morning now. We've rolled into Saturday morning. And I was like, shit. So, I mean, you get what you pay for, but you have to accept the fact that, you know, Saturday morning is Saturday morning, so 3 days from Saturday. Oh shit, I went the wrong way. Anyway, he's like, wait, let me try one more thing. He's like, your computer is gonna reboot 3 times. I need you to just, because I have to obviously log in and then it reestablishes the remote access. He's like, I'm going to restart your computer 3 times. I'm going to make one little change every time I do it. Now, I'm no stranger to Windows, because part of my job as a BMET was the computers connected to the medical equipment. I have never seen somebody load up the computer, go to standard load first, restart it, then boot into safe mode and restart it, and then boot back into standard mode and restart it. No idea why the fuck that fixed it, but that fixed it. That's the only changes he made. So I was literally sitting here scratching my fucking head, and I'm like, how the piss did this work? But you know what? If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. I have no idea why that fixed it. I had done it. I had done the same steps a bunch of times. The only thing I had never done was booted in a safe mode. I have no idea why booting it in a safe mode and then doing nothing and booting it into booting it back normally. I have no idea why that did anything, but it did. And all the thankful for it, because I didn't want to. Because what would happen is, HP would send a technician out to the house, and then what would happen is, he would come out to the house with replacement parts, and he would swap out the parts. The only problem is that, you know, if they don't have that particular processor, you end up with a comparable or better processor for free. Tax. You have to pay the tax on it. Which, you know, makes sense. But I'm just glad that they don't have to come out. And then Tamir kind of shook her head at me. I told her that I priced out my new computer and it was like $5,800, and she was like, "What?" She's like, "It's your money, do whatever." It's like, I just went down the list. I was like, the best of everything. I mean, I would obviously never build that computer today. I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't need a 2080 today. So many people bought 2080s the day they came out. What do you need it for? What game? Like, what game is gonna run the is gonna run that graphics card to the edge? I mean, I'm not saying not to buy it if you got the money. You don't have to need it. You can buy it because you want it. But my big thing when I buy my next computer is, if I'm still streaming, which I imagine I still will be, my big thing is more RAM. All the RAMs, because you can't download more, but more RAM. Because I have found that is really the only bottleneck on my computer when I'm really getting into, well, not necessarily streaming, but when I'm really getting into video creation. My video editor is a RAM hog. A lot of times I have to restart my computer. I have to restart my computer when I want to start working on complex videos. When I'm doing one video that's a compilation of like 8 or 10 other video clips, yeah, video it crushes it. I have 32, and there are days that I'm at like 27 utilized, and I'm like, luckily the video editing software I have now does something with the raw file that makes it more friendly. But yeah, morning Scribble. Scribble is one of our friendly neighborhood game developers that has a game in development. They swing by a lot of times to share what they're working on, and we talk, and a lot of times asks a question to solicit feedback from a gaming community that's not going to give like 2-word answers. Like, that's one of the things I am really proud of the Paradox Gaming Network community. Like, I'm just the guy that streams. Well, I'm one of the 2 people that streams. Wolf is also streams. She does more of a friendly personality show. I do more of a getting into the business aspects of things, like really deep diving into stuff. But you know, it always amazes me. I say it all the time, and people, I think, I'm starting to get some of you to come around to my line of thinking. The reason why the gaming industry sucks isn't because of the developers, it's because of the gamers. You get a developer, there's actually a couple of developers that swing by here and talk. But if they ask you a question, and they're like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think of a soft level cap, where you can continue to earn levels beyond the level cap and there's only a little bit of improvement? And you say, well, I think it sucks. Okay, well, you didn't really give the developer anything to run with. You think it sucks. Well, the developer thought it was a good idea because the developer wants to put it in their game. You said, I think it sucks. But you didn't say why. Alright, I think soft levels above and beyond the level cap are a bad idea because it means that new players are always going to feel like they can never fully catch up. Well, that is a lot different of an answer than I think it sucks. Like, what do you think about cash shops? They suck. All of them? Yes. All cash shops suck. Okay, well, what about cosmetic-only cash shops? Well, I think cosmetic cash shops are fine. You want to pay to look cool? That's fine, as long as it doesn't have a tangible benefit. However, I do understand that some people have a problem with games like BDO, that you look like trash. You look like trash unless you bought a paid cosmetic. That's a fair point. That is an absolutely fair point. So, developer needs to get that feedback. Alright, well, if I'm going to sell cosmetics to help offset development costs, And what I need to do is I need to make sure that I have an equal number of cosmetics available in-game that don't cost any money. That makes it so that there's not a clear visual distinction between rich people and poor people. Wow, that just rolled off the tongue like maybe I've talked about it a few times. But, hey Ty. Ah! So I do have to say that this was one of the more boring events, but at least it had it. When I talked about this event last week, I kind of slammed it. Then I thought about it for a second. I mean, at least they went through and they utilized something that already existed in game. You know, the mechanics already existed. It's not rich people versus poor people. True. I mean, but I do. It is and it isn't. It's several dynamics. It's pay versus no pay, but it's the ability to pay versus the ability to not pay, versus the willing to pay versus the unwilling to pay. Like, for example, I don't believe that a game that has a box price plus a monthly sub, okay, a box price plus a monthly sub should have a cash shop. I think it's greed. I think it's unrestricted, unbiased, unregulated, greedy capitalism. With that said, you can get a two-person mount in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 14, you can get a two-person mount in-game. You don't have to spend money on it. However, given the fact that I had to balance real-life game with the wife versus work on my content, and the problem came in that I can't get... Oh, that's too much. The problem is I cannot get a two-person mount readily available at character creation. And so that means when you got to do a lot of those routine, boring-ass tasks in Final Fantasy 14, that means I would have to pay attention to my screen and do shit that I've already done on 3 or 4 other characters. Because I played at launch, and I played several times, like, in between. And, you know, I don't want to spend 7 minutes of my life going from the crystal to another crystal that I don't have, because I got to go attune to it to have it as a point, a warp point. I don't want to spend that 7 minutes driving a fucking chicken from point A to point B. What I want to do is I want to be in a wiki, being a wiki editor, because I'm now one of the wiki editors for the Ashes of Creation wiki as well. So I got a lot on my plate. So there is a point where I can say, all right, I can work for an hour, and then I can play Final Fantasy for an hour. Or I can play Final Fantasy with my wife for 2 hours, and she has no problem driving us on a two-person mount to things that need to get done while I do a couple of lines of the wiki. And then, oh, we're here, let me attune to the crystal. Alright, now we gotta drive to the next crystal. Alright. Drive away. And then I'm over here on my side machine doing the editing of a wiki. By the way, I'm gonna let you guys all know that if the game you play has a wiki, okay? If the game you play has a wiki, I don't, and this is my community rule, you can say whatever the fuck you ever want to say about me, as long as you have some, you know, empirical evidence. But I want to say a huge shout out to these guys, okay? These guys over at the Ashes of Creation wiki. I want to give a huge shout out to these guys. And the reason why I say that is I use that wiki all the time for getting information. Now, and I'm going to switch between two screens as I flip between stuff. But this is what a raw interview looks like, right? This is what a raw interview looks like. Now, there are some places that the timestamp's already been done. All right? I want to see if anybody did DCNs. Yeah, nobody's done DCNs yet. So you'll see that this is what a raw this is just raw text. This is straight speech to text. Now, as I'm working on my my interview, all right, I'm working on my slides and stuff. I need the information from my interview. Now, you'll see mine has a lot more. Jalon said, Steven said. You'll see that up at the top. There are a lot more timestamps that take you right to the video. I did not realize how much work a cited wiki is. Now, on that particular wiki that I was just on, every single thing has a citation. There are things out there that don't, and as we find them, as the staff, we go back and we chuck a citation on. And just gotta say, the amount of work that it takes to load all of that source material in, to break down in just an interview into Jay said, Steven said, I mean, that's like huge amounts of work. And I do want to give a massive shout out to an individual over at that wiki. They're from the Checkmate Guild. Their name is Ruby. Amazing amount of dedication to stay focused on citing that. Like, I'll tell you, I'll tell you that there is a huge difference between a wiki and what I do. So this is my website. Hold on, I don't like the. Yeah, I don't like the fact that I'm not there. Feels like I'm not talking to you guys. I gotta get this page refixed. I fucked up when I did my Steven interview and I was erasing stuff off of my profile instead of my screen collections. But I go through and I tell you about the concepts. I write a textbook, okay? I write a textbook. You'll notice there are no citations here. Now, I have on the other screen, I'm making sure that this stuff is accurate. But I'm not going through and I'm not citing it. And it's the same thing with the Archeage 101 site, so that we keep it relevant to this game as well. It's the same thing. When I go into one of these things, this is what I've written. I've written this stuff. So there's not like a citation of where this comes from. There is Jay wrote this. It is 100 times easier for me to do this than it is for somebody to build a wiki. They are ridiculously time consuming. So if the game you play has a well-maintained wiki, take the time to thank the wiki staff. Because honestly, if the wiki staff decides to say, fuck it, I'm done with this, you are really the one that's going to pay the price. Because remember, the wiki editor is probably going to go and get all of that information for themselves and know it and stockpile it and have it. The difference is that you're not going to have access to it, because that person's making no money doing that. Now, some wikis are paid for wikis. The Ashes of Creation one is not. My website obviously is not. Mine's not a wiki. Mine's a textbook. It will be coming out in a PDF format near launch. There's too much shit I would have to do in order to make it a sellable textbook, and I don't really want to do that. If people like it, they can swing by my Patreon and they can be like, here, Jay, have $25, have $1, have $5, have whatever. I'm not going to try to sell a guidebook. I don't. It's just too much work. And I got to get releases for all the Intrepid artwork if I want to use any of it, and if they don't want to let me use it, then, or I got to give them a percentage, and I like to give shit away. I'm not a very good business person. I like to give too much stuff away. Let's see. I decided to try out Archeage again after 2 years, and I've been watching your guides on YouTube for 2 hours now. Just wanted to say it's really good stuff. Thanks. Thank you. You must be the one guy driving up those numbers. No, but seriously, I did want to talk about that for a little bit. And then I'm gonna close the show early today. My kids are off, and my kids do a really good job of trying to stay off this floor. But unfortunately, I don't have a room in my house to have a studio in. I literally am in my entryway, my foyer. Oh, you hush. But people said the other day, they were like, Archeage is dead, there's only 400 players. I'm like, where did you get the 400 player number? They're like, from Steam. Just not everybody who plays Archeage plays through Steam. I don't play through Steam, so any number about Archeage right now is at least one player short. I don't think most of you play through Steam. Why are you so needy today? I don't think most of you play through Steam. Yeah, Ty plays through Glyph. I play through Glyph. I'm pretty sure Snows, Sweetheart, Shoot, Warhead. I'm pretty sure all those guys and girls play through Glyph. So you're not going to show up on the Steam numbers. Did everybody else hurt your feelings? I think he got his feelings hurt by his kitty family. He wants me to come make them be nice to him. He's a weird cat. He'll want to harass me, but he won't jump up so that he can get a meter. Silly animal. Yeah, Tamir and I were talking about pets and the future of pets. And we were gonna get otters, and otters are, you know, exotic, difficult pets, but we're willing to spend the money that is required to build them an otter habitat on our property, and you know, have a separate habitat for the otters, and little door between the main house and the otter house, and you know, at night, kick them out. You go to your house. Go away, otters. Go to your house. But I found out a fact about otters that thank you. I found out a fact about otters that otters, when they're scared and there's a predator nearby, they pee on themselves, make themselves not appetizing to the predator. I don't think that works, but you know, it's one of those self-defense mechanisms that you know, it got issued at character creation. But then found out that the type of otter you have for a pet isn't that type of otter. The sea otters pee on themselves. The small clawed Asian otters, they do not. So now we're back to maybe getting otters. The other thing we wanted was, you know, dogs. Big dogs. I want big dogs. I want big dumb dogs. I love big dumb dogs. I love big dumb dogs. But I don't think big dumb dogs would work well for Tamir, because Tamir's small. Tamir's tiny. I'm almost 6 foot. I'm on a good day. On a good day, after a couple of days laying in bed, I'm 6 foot. Most days, I'm 5'11" and a half. The Air Force used to piss me off all the time with that. But so, yes, give me your largest, dumbest dog. That's what I want. But yeah, 5'11" and a half. JJ, you have no idea. They used to piss me off with that. So and you guys know military, everything's precision. If you are 71.51, you get rounded to 6. If you are 71.49, you get rounded to 5'11". They used to fuck with me because I am, like I said, if you take my height early in the morning, Hi, you want to say hi? Point right there and say hi.
Hi.
Alright, you go eat your breakfast.
I didn't get breakfast.
Alright, you go do something other than make noise. So they always round your height. Well, if you take my, like I said, if you take my height first thing in the morning, if I've been laying down for a couple of days, then I'm 6 foot, like dead on 6 foot. But if my height check is a couple of hours into the day, you know, because as you walk around, you compress. It's literally 71.5 dead on. Yes, exactly. Sleeping takes pressure off your spine, and the discs fill with fluid and expand. Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is. That's also why the chiropractor will tell you, lay down. Yes, exactly. And then throughout the day, the pressure of your weight on your spine doing its job, holding up your head. I mean, your head is, you know, you got a melon of a head, man. It presses down. The weight of your shoulders and everything compresses. Walking, the force up through your legs. I learned a lot about the spine. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But no, they fucked with me because a lot of times it was like 70. It would be like 71.51, and they'd be like, so 6 foot. And then the doctors, they'd be like, well, he's never been measured at 6 foot in his career. And I'm like, you guys just won't let me be part of the 6 foot club, will you? That's funny as shit. But that's neither here nor there. The funny part is, Tamir is tiny. Tamir had an accident in the military. That's why she's retired. And she damaged her back. So she wasn't like the tallest person in the world to begin with. And then some spinal damage. She shrank. So I want big dumb dogs. I want huge. I want like Irish wolfhounds. I want like full-size mastiffs. I want neighborhood kids to come to my door and it be like this damn Sandlot. A roar, the big dog over the fence. But I literally could imagine, you know, something happening to me having to be gone or something, and Tamir having to walk to his dog. And I thought to myself, my daughter isn't that big. My daughter is 5'4". Her best friend's 5'4". I could imagine me having to be gone for a couple of days and the dog needing to go for a walk and having 2, 3, 4, 5 kids just leashes everywhere on this dog. And having to dial that thing back. I just did Fall of Hiram City for the first time, knew what to do from watching you. Thank you. Hey, I'm glad it helped. I mean, I have a video on the Fall of Hiram City out there, but that's good. That's why I do what I do. I mean, there are people who don't want to jump into anything new because there are some people who don't like new things. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A dog and a cat should never be the same size. Yeah, I thought about getting servals. I thought about getting domesticated servals as well because I like cats. I am a huge fan of cats. Like, the only thing I'm not a fan of cats about is one of the things I got to do here in the next few minutes after I depart is I have to go change the smelly felines boxes. I'm actually 2 days late changing their boxes. I was supposed to do it Saturday, and I forgot. I was supposed to do it yesterday, and I forgot. So I need to go do that. That's kind of important. They tend to start peeing on your stuff if you don't give them clean boxes. I have automatic boxes, so I really just have to change out the trays. Yeah, it's not 2 days of not very pleasant stuff. It's the boxes will go. I have the automatic trays. They'll go for like 14 days. I change them at 10. Because I have 2 of them. I change them at 10. Now that it was so fucking stupid. Cats, man, they piss me off. I had the box. You walk into the room that they're in, and there was one box, and then behind the other box was the other one. Well, they would overuse one and underutilize the other one. So all I did is I just turned them, and now they're both walk in. Now they use them equally, and I'm like, strange ass little felines. But anyway, guys, gonna be a busy week for me. I will be back Wednesday night for some more Archeage. I am gonna be busy today and tomorrow doing Ashes 101 stuff. Like I said, I have 4 storyboards laid out. I have an article half written. I have to get back and do another. I have another video I have to do. So I got lots and lots to do. As I get into the Archeage 101 site, I will fix it. I realize not everybody has a giant ass monitor, so I laid out the web page and it looks all nice, and it's spread out and it looks great. Let me bring it up real quick so you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's funny because there's a website that you can go to. Now, I use a Wix website because it does what I need it to do. But let me get rid of myself. I don't need to be on here real quick because it kind of gets in the way of what I'm talking about. But people said to me, you have all this runner space down the sides. And I said, well, yeah. And they said, well, why? Why don't you use the website to the fullest? Like, why don't you make it look like that? And I said, well, you know, the problem is that if you do that, okay, and you come over to Screenfly and you paste this in, yeah. So this is what happens. This is what happens. And I'm sorry for the people with the 10-inch, the 12-inch, the 13-inch, the 15-inch netbooks. Update. I don't know what to tell you. But you get to a 19-inch screen, which is pretty damn common for a laptop still nowadays, and you'll see that it all falls off. Well, that doesn't look really good. And the thing is like I said, when I'm on my screen, it looks great. I mean, it's nice, it's spread out, it's there, but yeah, you're there and it looks kind of bad. So people brought that to my attention, and I do thank you. I use a Wix website, so some people are like, yeah, well, it's just a piece of code that I can't. First of all, I don't know the code. Second of all, I know Wix allows you to do some custom HTML work now, but again, I write this stuff. Other people can make this stuff look pretty. Where's the Archeage Wiki? There's a couple of Archeage Wikis out there in the world. Narunda, the thing that you will notice, like I said though, if you go to the Ashes 101 website, that should work on your 15-inch laptop. If I recall correctly, I did stay within I colored within the lines for that one. Would you say 15-inch? Yeah, I bring this over real quick. There's a 15-inch laptop for the Ashes 101 site, which you know, it's not easy making something look even decent on a 15-inch laptop, but you know, you do what you need to do. Like, obviously I would love everybody to have a 19-inch screen, because then I could use some of this runner. But and then people are like, but it doesn't look good on my tablet. I tried, man. I tried, but it can't work on a 7-inch screen. And then they're like, but it doesn't look good on my phone. Look, Archeage 101 isn't like phone material. Archeage 101 videos are phone material. So if you need something to do while on the bus, listen to me talk to you. You can throw me in ×2. I sound sexy as a chipmunk. Anyway, guys, I'm going to do a short show today. Reason why my kids are home. I want to go spend time with my kids. I thought my kids were off all week. Turns out today's their last day of spring break, so I at least want my kids to be able to venture around. I know the teenager is sick. I need to make sure she's okay. The little one has been really good. You saw her. They went to the park. They flew a kite. They flew a kite. They did fly a kite. I'll be back Wednesday, hopefully with a couple of videos done. If not, like I said, I'm gonna have to sit down and think about this. I'm gonna have to sit down and think about this 3-show-a-week thing, unless I do a podcast. So you guys take care. Remember, any questions you have, you can always send them in. I have a Discord. I have email. I'm Jalon #0001, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Take care.